Hi, today I'm going to show you how to add people to your family tree using the AI Research Assistant found on the home page of your family search. So, I'm logged in right now. This is actually my wife's login that we're working on today. And as you notice, there's a bunch of things on the front page here. AI Assistant usually shows up right here near the top. Sometimes it's minimized like this, but you just click on the arrow and it opens it back up. Basically, you've got potential people that you can add to your family tree. That means that they're not on there right now, or they're not connected to your family tree right now. So what the AI has done is it's gone through all the record hints for your ancestors, and it's found ones where it sees that there's someone missing from the tree that's on the record. So it says, here's a record. It's got someone that you may not have on your tree. Our job is to look at it and see if we can add a person to our family tree with it. So starts off by just click on this review and add button here. And it tells us a little bit about it. Newman Harris is listed as a spouse, but is not found in your tree. Well, that's usually an easy one. So Clara Hobbs, Newman Harris. So I click on attach here, but if I right click it and then open in a new tab, I won't lose my place. Okay, so it opens it up here. On the left side is the record. On the right side are the people that are currently in your family tree. And you'll notice you have Clara, you have her parents listed, and then on the record you've got a husband and husband's parents that you can add to your family tree. So first, we'll start with the parents. We're just going to attach those to the ones that already exist here. Annie versus Hannah. I mean, that's probably a nickname that, or what she went by, but maybe that was her full name. It's close enough. I'll click attach. Clara is obviously the same. Now, to add the husband, you've got a little add button here. You've got his date of birth, 1882, listed, and where they were married, which is Massachusetts. So it brings up all the information. It's telling me it's a non-standard place, NFLD. They are in Canada, so he's going to be Newfoundland is NFLD, but I wouldn't expect you to know that. So create new person. We just added him to our tree. So now Clara's got a husband, Newman Harris. Now, in order to add the parents, we've got to switch our view so that the person that we're looking at, the person of focus, is now the husband. So I click on this little change person. I go to the spouse, Newman Harris. You typically only have to do this with marriage records because you've got spouses and then both sets of parents. But once we do that, then we can add John Harris to Newman as his parent and Mary Harris. And we've just added 3 people to the family search tree. All right, let's look at a different one here. Possible children of, possible child of Henry Rawls. So you've got 2 for Henry Rawls. We've got possible parents, possible spouse. Okay, so let's go to Henry Rawls here. Let's click on attach. Now, this is a census record, so English and Wales Census 1851. You've got the parents, Henry and Mary, and those match. The dates, close enough. Censuses are often off by 1 to 3 years, so not a big deal. The fact you've got both of them there, you've got the son, matches for sure, and then you've got 3 on there that we don't have. Now, first let's start by attaching these ones here. Married, gamekeeper, Now we notice that their residence is in Fuggleston, Wiltshire. They were married in Salisbury, Wiltshire, so that makes sense. Click attach, attach, and I'm going to add all these. She's from Netherhampton, Wiltshire. She's a dressmaker. Click attach. All right. Now we can attach George because we know who he is. When it says occupation scholar, that just means typically that they were too young to be out there working. So he was born in 1847. This was 1851. He's 4 years old. He's not a scholar. He's just a toddler. But that's what they put. So we got George. We can add Harriet. Not sure where Harpuddle is, so I'm just going to leave that as is. Click add. And then we can add Anne. She was born in Fuggleston. What a fun name, Fuggleston. And then Henry is down here. And we can create a new person there. So we just added several members of the Rawls family. All right, so that was pretty easy. Let's go down and look at one of these other ones. Let's look at Edwin Turner. Oh, I forgot to. No, I didn't. Okay. Now this one's a little bit different because everything looks normal, but it looks like he matches an Edwin Turner in the list. But here's the problem. If you look at the date here, 1879 for Edwin George Turner, 1884 for Edwin G. Turner. Now, I looked at this, and this is based on, the 1884 is based on a census record. Now, like I said before, censuses can be off a couple of years. That's a little far. That's 5 years. Chances are this is a birth record of their first son, and he died, and then they reused the name a number of years later. So the way we have to do this, because he's matched up with someone that's already there, we've got to drag this up here, right there, so then we can add him as a new member of the family. So basically it's going to have two Edwin George Turners, or Edwin G. Turners. So now there's one that was born in 1879, one that was born in 1884. Now, because we're assuming that he died at a young age, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into here. I'm going to put death, edit. I'm going to say about 1880. That's a year after he's born. Now, what's interesting is that now he's showing up on a couple of other censuses. So there's more that's going on here than necessarily. So this 1884 date might be wrong, at which point then I'd have to merge these two people together. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one and work it out later. But that's how you drag a person into a spot where you can add them if you need to. All right. So let's see. Let's try one last one. Let's go to this one, Susan Florence Rogers. We've got her date of birth. We've got, looks like all we know so far is that she married a Bert Stapley in Hampshire, right? And we know that this is also in Hampshire, England. So that's good. But basically we just have to attach her, and it's got her baptism date, her birth date. See, they had birth date as January 1881, but that could have been a guess. And this is birth date February of 1881. Portsea, Hampshire. Is where the baptism took place, which makes sense because that's where they were in between 1881 and 1891. So we click add. We click attach. And then we can add the parents in. So Thomas Charles. And now this is interesting because it said, hey, we may have found Thomas Charles in our system already. Thomas Charles Rogers, which is what this is. I mean, it says Thomas Charles, but we know her last name's Rogers, so we know that his last name is also Rogers. So if we think this is a good match, and we can click on it and see what information there is in there. But basically, I'm just looking to see where it shows. Oh, see, he's got a Susan Florence Rogers already attached to him. 6NG. So it looks like there's a duplicate of Susan out there that I'm going to have to take care of. But in this case, yes, it does look like it's the right Thomas. So I'm going to click select, attach. Now, there was no mother listed, so we can add in the mother. All we have is her first name, Susan. So we click create new person. So, all right, so we added the mother. The father was already there, and there's a duplicate that we need to take care of. But that's it for, so that's how you add people to your family tree. I just added, I don't know, half a dozen people to my wife's family tree.